So the big picture for this lesson is solving quadratic equations by factoring or by the square root method. Here's a quadratic equation, and I'm going to try to factor it. Now remember, the rule for factoring is you multiply these two numbers here. So 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. And then what you want to do is you want to see if you can factor negative 24 into two numbers that will add to make plus 5. And if you can, you know you can do factor by grouping. So negative 24 factors to 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. And you can do different combinations of positives and negatives. Since we have a plus 5, the bigger number is going to have to be positive, the smaller number negative. So 1 and 24 won't work, 2 and 12 won't work. 8 and 3 will if you do negative 3 and positive 8. That adds to make 5, and they multiply to make negative 24. So you can factor by grouping. So what you do is you split the middle term. So you get 6x squared plus 8x minus 3x, and then minus 4. And then what you do is you take the common factor out of the first two terms. It looks like 2x is in common. So that leaves 3x plus 4. And then the second terms, well, there's just a negative sign you can factor out. So that makes a negative, and then 3x plus 4, like that. And the next step is the grouping, the 2x, and then the negative sign. That's actually minus an invisible 1. So it's going to be 2x minus 1. And then 3x plus 4. And remember, that equals 0. We have an equation here. I should have been putting that the whole way. Now you apply the zero product property. 2x minus 1 equals 0. That's one solution. And 3x plus 4, that's another solution. So I'm going to add 1. That's going to be 2x equals 1 divided by 2. So x equals 1/2 here. This other one, subtract 4 from both sides. 3x equals negative 4 divided by 3. So x equals negative 4/3. So your solutions are x equals 1/2 and negative 4/3. Now I did write out every single step. I know some people like to just mentally solve when you get down to 2x minus 1 equals 0. I don't like to do that because there's a good chance you might mess up the plus or negative sign. That's not good. And you can also verify this by putting back into the equation to check your answer. If you have an equation like this, there are two different ways to solve. You can either factor it into x plus 2 times x minus 2 equals 0. It's a special pattern there. And then you can apply the zero product property to solve, or you can use the square root method. So here's how this works. Add 4 to both sides, and you get x squared equals 4. And then take the square root of both sides, and you get x equals plus or minus square root of 4, which is x equals plus or minus 2. And if you use the zero product property here, you also get x equals plus or minus 2. Okay, so basically that's what you're doing in this lesson. You're solving by factoring, and you're taking square roots.